Hit
I'll
my
do
iPhone.
roll
Yep.
call.
hit the roll
Karen,
call. Yes.
Paul,
Here.
Kate,
Here.
Jake,
Yes, here.
Josh. I thought I saw Josh's name. Is he here?
I sent him an invite.
We invited him.
Larry.
Patorik, no.
Okay. Raymond.
Send him an invite too. Gonna text him.
Okay.
So we just have the four of us?
Four of us.
Yep. Okay.
So far,
Well, the others will join when they get there. We need approval of the emergency board meetings on March 14th and the regular board meeting minutes from March 17th.
I move that we approve the minutes from the previous month's meetings.
okay, so Chris was requesting that just in case it becomes difficult later to know that you state your name when you make a motion.
Oh,
But I've got you, Kate. I got it.
It's
It
not
was
too
just a
hard.
good reminder for everybody, that's all.
It's not too hard though between Kate and I. Okay, and that's it. That's all there is.
Second.
Paul's the second. Okay.
Communications.
Well, aren't we going to vote on it?
Still
Yeah.
gotta
Do you
vote.
want
Oh,
a
I'm
roll
sorry.
call or do you want all in favor?
I can't even remember what you're supposed to do. Okay, roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
yep.
Jake.
Yes.
And has anyone else joined us? Not yet. Okay.
Okay. Now we can go to communications.
I'm talking to Raymond right now.
Okay.
So the communications, I can just give you the update, is that I sent the letter to the judges, and then I got communication from the constable. I can't remember his name right this second. Judge Grendel's constable.
Yeah, I know who he is.
And then I responded. They wanted to see copies of the letters from the last two times that we reappointed somebody. So I found those letters, and the such and sent it to them. So they should all have that.
Okay.
And then Mike, apparently Larry's having trouble getting in. Just
Okay.
What? Approval of the agenda. Are there any changes?
Paul Newman, move to approve.
Kate Patron seconds.
All those in favor? Oh, do we have to have a roll call? Because I guess it's got money. Okay, give me a roll call.
Okay. Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
Okay. Fiscal report.
I need approval for the disbursements and gifts.
I move that we approve disbursements and gifts.
Okay.
Paul Newman, move to approve.
Any discussion? Any questions for? Okay, roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
Okay, now for the good one.
Okay, I included in the board packet some discussion on the deductions, possible reductions to the PLF, and also some suggested cost-saving measures. And then I also sent you an email today, since we received the communication from the Budget Commission that they're recommending that we reduce our estimate of taxes received. So that went down. And I've sent you a bunch of stuff. I also sent some a summary of the employment laws that have been changed, so you can be aware of those, because that probably will increase our personnel expenses. And I'm not sure where you want to go from that.
Paul, do you have some idea?
And we approve whatever you did.
Well, we didn't do anything. So we've done nothing. I'm just giving some suggestions. I discussed furlough.
Right.
versus reducing, if we have to reduce pay later on, why it would be advantageous to furlough people instead at this point.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, yeah,
we furlough, they get the extra $600, right?
exactly. So all of our part-time employees, so say we furloughed all part-time employees, all of our part-time employees would make more money on unemployment than they would their regular pay. So that would be my suggestion. If there's any thought that we would have to in the future reduce pay, like in 2009, they reduced hours, and took a 2% pay cut. Rather than do that, it would be really good to take advantage of that federal expanded unemployment. It would be good for our employees. They would be receiving their full pay and probably more.
And they're going to get this, right? This is all going to be clear to them that we're not.
Well, I don't, we would have to make it clear to them. Nothing's been done. Nothing, I mean, that's up to the board whether they want to do that or not.
And that would be if there was a layoff, not, or a furlough, not, right.
What do you mean?
Well, we could do.
They would get the $600 if there was a furlough. It's not just, right.
Right. It's unemployment.
But they have to file for unemployment.
Right. They would have to file for unemployment.
We don't take care of that for them.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely be something we'd have to discuss carefully.
And what do we have? I mean, this does hinge on what is our plan for coming back up.
Right.
The governor hasn't said when libraries get to come back up, but do we have an idea? Do we have any inkling of how long we would put these people off? And I know you said in your plan that we could go with the full-time people if we were going to do curbside pickup or drop off and pick up and whatever, and the full-time people could handle it because the library basically wouldn't be open. It would just be curbside, right?
That was an example I used because I would assume with the phased reopenings, I'm assuming that our first phase would be to just offer curbside holds without patrons in the building. That's what I got from reading the federal and the state guidelines for the phased.
Mhm.
So in my thinking, we could handle that with full-time employees because full-time employees, most of them take benefits. So we are paying their benefits.
If it's anyway.
So it would be easier to keep them on the payroll and furlough part-time because then we're not messing with benefits.
So Ed, have you heard anything? Do you know of anything? Do you have a plan in mind?
Yes, I have considered a number of options, but I am not convinced that we need to furlough anybody at this time. We've
Okay.
seen some numbers, but we haven't seen all the numbers, and there will be some more information coming in the following, probably in the next couple of weeks. What we just got that she forwarded you, Lisa forwarded yesterday, I think, was the information about the the local, the levy money. And that isn't a dramatic reduction, but it is a reduction.
Right.
The PLF projections are all over the place from what people are saying. And some are having drastic expectations that it's going to be whatever, a 50% cut. Katie Ringenbach, in a conversation with me, reminded me that we've already taken in 1/3 of our total PLF for the year, and it was above projections. So for a drastic cut, it would have to be, for a 25% cut for the total for the year, it would have to be a 60% cut for the rest of the year to balance this out to make it be that big of a cut, which I don't see happening, but I could be wrong. And that's part of the problem, is we have no idea. My other feedback is that, yes, the employees could apply for unemployment. Yes, they could get it. Yes, it would be hard. But if it's at all possible, I would prefer to keep our employees and see what we could do with them. Just for that purpose of the dignity of not being laid off and not having to go through that process. Those are my opinions, and we should have more vigorous discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's two things also to consider. I did send you the updated revenue estimate today.
Yep.
Just, and this to me is very conservative. I took the 3% from the Budget Commission for the remainder of the year and a 25% reduction for the remainder of the year for PLF, and it would reduce our revenue by over 700,000. So 700,000.
Right.
The discussion about furlough is time sensitive because that extended employment or extended unemployment runs out the end of July. So we have a little bit of time to play with, but again, I just want to make that clear that there is a deadline now. So if you made your decision, say you wait until we have all the information about how much the PLF is going to be reduced, and we don't make a decision until July or August, we lose that $600 as it stands right now. The other thing is that I wanted to address is we did have a large carryover, but we are planning to open 2 new buildings.
Yep.
And that in itself is going to increase expenses next year or the end of this year. So I hate to, I mean, we could maybe absorb $500,000 or whatever into by using that carryover without reducing expenses by very much. However, that puts us in a bad position going forward. We're trying to extend the time before we have to go back out for a levy, replacement levy.
Right.
We don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're using up that carryover, that moves that date when we have to go back to the voters sooner. So I'm trying to give you all your options and all the things that I've considered.
Right. Yeah. No,
I do have one question about that. You know, obviously all the libraries have been closed for a little while. Are we getting any savings from not having the buildings operating at all? Does that play into this at all?
The only savings that would maybe be some reduced utilities. I can't think of anything else. Ed, can you think that anything that would be reduced?
We haven't been ordering materials. We've stopped that over the last at least 4 to 5 weeks. We haven't ordered materials.
Right, but we increased the e-books budget. So
But
that
not enough to offset the material costs that we would normally spend.
Well, that's
So
good.
at best, we're talking a negligible difference in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we're also not paying mileage for people and any number of things.
Meeting. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, you mentioned the meeting.
Yeah, there's probably some things here and there, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be enough to offset $500,000 to $700,000.
Right, and our payroll is one of our biggest expenses, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
our biggest.
I mean, if you need to make any money up, it's going to be in payroll.
That's right. And it's better to do it now than later. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to put people off when we need to have services. Better to do it now when we don't, or when our services will be very minimal.
Yeah, and then I forgot one more thing, a consideration. If we do a phased reopening of any kind, if you're not furloughing the people that are not working, it's kind of going to be odd that you have some people work. So I'm just picking full-time because that's an easy way to say it. So your full-time are working and you're paying them. Your part-time people are not working and you're paying them. I mean, if that's what you want to do, we can do it. I just didn't know what the, public perception is going to be, employee perception is going to be,
But of course, if we did it, the explanation for how to go about this, the explanation that we would be happy to have them all back again as soon as we can use them again, and making the $600 that they could be making clear, I would think many of them would be pleased to be already not working and to get another $600 that they wouldn't get.
it needs to be explained carefully. That
Right.
we're doing this in case, we don't want to wait and even next year have to do a 2% reduction in pay, or because we know you're going to be taken care of now.
I
Yes.
would make a counter proposal that we communicate with the staff to talk to them about what the options are, to get some feedback from the staff, because it may not be something that is violently opposed for them to take a 2% reduction to staff of pay across the board versus, I don't know. I've never been laid off in my life. I've been fired from a job, but then I went and got another job, and things are in a different scenario right now. This is a time of uncertainty, and yes, there's the $600, and I don't remember how long it lasts, but there's also a who knows what's going on beyond that. Again, I'd prefer to have some more conversations before we make a decision right now to just say we're laying off whatever 150 employees.
Well, when I looked at this information quite a bit earlier for my son, who basically barely makes above minimum wage, the folks that are going to be positively impacted by this are the ones that make less from us.
Right.
The ones that would be hurt by the furlough are honestly going to be Ed and
Right, you can't do that.
our managers,
Right.
you as a fiscal officer, all of that is going to be the ones that are probably going to be hurt by a furlough and would probably be helped by the percentage. But people who are shelvers, who are circulation clerks, they're going to come out probably ahead of the game if we
That's
furlough.
Right.
That's
So, and then the other thing to consider, and I don't know if this is anything we even need to worry about, but the other thing to consider is there is a bottom floor to the unemployment. You have to make a certain amount of money before they'll give you any unemployment. So our part-time people may very well not hit that cutoff, and if we furlough them, they get nothing.
Wait, that's not true. Sorry.
Oh, did they change that? Because that was last time.
They may not get the Ohio. They may not get that half that the
Okay.
Ohio unemployment, but they definitely will still get the 600.
But
Okay, good. That's
still,
new. That's new
I
information.
ran the numbers for everybody. Everybody that's part-time will make more than what their normal weekly salary is.
Okay.
even if they don't get the Ohio.
Correct.
Even if they don't get if they don't get the Ohio, they're only making $263 or $269 or less a week, and they're going to get 600.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, they would do better.
Right. And can I argue against the idea of discussing this with staff? I don't think that's a good idea because it's not going to be up to staff to make that decision. I mean, you guys have to make that decision whether it makes sense to you or not. And I think by opening it up as a discussion to staff, you're going to have people saying, well, you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah, be different
Yeah.
opinions.
Because they're all going to have different opinions.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I'm thinking.
They have
about
it now.
is-
Yeah, right.
Wait,
You're
I
right.
think
That's
I
a good
can't
point.
hear
That's a good
Karen.
point.
Is Karen talking?
She's trying. The other flip side I was thinking about was the attrition rate. So you furlough people. That's okay, I get it. And you're making some money part-time, but are you gonna go off and find another job? Are you gonna stay with us? Well, how many are you gonna lose through attrition? Now
Right.
you want to come back up to speed. How many people are you gonna have to rehire?
And that is definitely a possibility. I think, I don't know, I can just speak for myself. If I was able to, if I was making, say, $300 a week and I knew I was getting that $300 a week, I might just stay with that job. There's nothing stopping people right now from going and getting another job.
But that's
I
only,
think it could be.
But they're
Yeah.
not so much thinking they
The-
know it's coming back, that we haven't said goodbye. We haven't been the ones to
Right.
say out the door. They know they're still getting it and they're still with us. So that's not really,
Right.
yes, if they fall into something great, but that's not going to be a big attrition rate.
Yeah.
But once you let those people go, once you say you're out for the moment, no matter how long, they're either going to go find something else. They may not stay for you. Now you're going to come back up to speed. What percentage do you think you have to rehire to come back up to full speed? And you've got 2 new libraries. So now if the question is it smart to do that? Yes. Okay. They're making more money, but they're not with us. We're not a team. We're
Right.
not working together. There's no reason, no loyalty. I don't really care for you anymore. I'm out the door.
And I think, again, if you decide to do this, I think it's again, a lot of it's going to be how you word the message to employees.
I agree.
quick point of order. Do you want to have this conversation in executive session, or would you like to just, I'm just asking, because you're going to have, it doesn't matter to me either way, just a reminder.
I'm still okay with it being public. We haven't gotten into anything that I'm worried about.
Agreed. Okay. I just wanted to
I'm in
make sure.
favor of
It's a good
transparency on this
question.
issue.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm in favor of transparency on this issue. I don't think we should go into executive session.
Raymond, when did you come in?
Yeah,
About 15 minutes ago.
okay.
You have Larry Patoric there too, and Josh.
I've joined, yes.
When did Larry Patoric come in?
Right around the same
About-
time as Josh.
Right.
Okay.
About 4:05, I think it was.
4:05? Okay, you all came in at the same time? Okay,
Do
thank
we
you.
have any sense as to
Karen's-
what any of the other county departments or agencies are doing or are discussing? Have there been any furloughs? Have there been any other, the Parks District,
I haven't heard anything.
I have no sense.
I haven't been looking at county, I've been looking at library.
okay.
To address Karen's question about how many people, like what percentage of people she thinks we would lose if we furloughed, I think the attrition rate would be fairly low. We've already had people on the payroll for this entire closure, and we've had a lot of engagement and communication with them. And if we, you know, it all depends on how you want to handle the message, but we've had some really great positive engagement with the staff up to this point. So I think we do have that going in our favor.
Do we have an idea of how much, or not how much, how long of a furlough we're talking about? Are we, you know, if we do this, are we saying, all right, everybody, this is going to be a 2-week furlough or a 1-month furlough? Do we have the ability to upfront say, yeah, we're doing this, but we want you back in a month. Please don't go away.
Well, wouldn't we be saying we want you until the $600 dries up and then we'll take you back? I mean, you know, we go away, but you get your $600 and then we want you. You know, I mean, because that's it.
Well, and I think also would have to do with when the phasing is. If we're just doing holds and pickups like that, then we don't need the staff. But once we move into allowing patrons in the building, then we would need more staff. But that also, then it brings up another thing. You could do like a rolling furlough where you work, you know, if you only need half the staff work the first week, the second week, half the staff work. There's so many considerations. It's just,
Right.
but I mean, you could do it that way and then they would continue to collect unemployment for the weeks that they don't work.
And Kate, as far as how long the unemployment, I just looked it up. It's with the Federal CARES Act, it's 39 weeks. So
39
basically 10 months.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Well, the $600 is the end of July. The end of July. So, because it started,
Right?
you can still be on unemployment.
Right. The $600, you're right. That one goes to the end of July.
Right.
But the normal 26 weeks you can get unemployment has been extended an additional 13 weeks by the CARES Act. So 39 weeks from when you go on unemployment, you can get the normal half of your normal salary unemployment for 39 weeks.
Right.
And the 600 is until the end of July. Just so we're all on the same page.
Okay.
Larry, did you have something?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
It's certainly possible that by the July date, we would be taking everybody back anyway.
Right.
It's possible. We just don't know what the governor's got planned.
I hope it's before then, but who knows?
I don't know. He hasn't stated yet.
Right.
And he's pretty strong compared to some of the other states. So I don't know. He's not willing to give. You know, some of the other ones have rolled over already. But he doesn't.
My wife, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, my wife works at Metro Health, and so she's in a whole bunch of these conversations every day. And the consensus seems to be that we're gonna start going back to a more normal, non-quarantined life sometime in the June. Some of them are saying mid-June, some are saying the end of June, but June seems to be the magic number they're all settling on at this point.
Okay.
That could change, you know.
Yeah.
Things could go to hell in a handbasket in
Right.
no time, but that's the best information she's been passing on to me.
Okay. what I thought. Paul?
No, I have nothing to say.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you do.
I don't believe that you have nothing to say,
I know,
Paul.
I don't believe that either. Nothing? No wisdom for us?
He says he has nothing to say.
Nothing for me.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Better hold off for until,
yeah, my feeling is we should wait till May 1st to see what the governor has to say, what the feeling of the money is, feeling, maybe we'll have a little more, 2 more weeks in, we have a little better feeling on expenses, although that's only what, a week and 2 days or 3 days. I still think if we wait just a little bit, I'm not talking about waiting. I know you said like June or whatever. Now, I think we have to decide in May, and preferably the beginning part.
What if I made a contingent motion? A contingent motion, if by May 1st, it looks like this is going to go on for longer, then we do the furlough thing. We let people go until everything sorts out. Probably July would be. What if we worded something like that? Make it contingent.
Are you
Okay.
making it contingent on the stay-at-home order, Kate? Is that what you're implying? I just want to write it down.
All right, well, I'm making a contingent on when the governor opens things up, we need our part-time staff back again.
I would respectfully advise that we should have another board meeting to hash this out before this is a good beginning conversation, but before we actually pull the trigger on layoffs, I'd like to, in my opinion, and it doesn't really matter, but I'm just giving you my say on it.
Can I ask just one question? Is that, are you making, because I've been in many of these conversations elsewhere, are you making a distinction between layoffs and furloughs as far as continuation of benefits, et cetera?
Yes, that was my suggestion, that yes, we make it definitely a furlough.
Okay.
That just provides continuity for people and we are able to continue benefits. I mean, I'm not talking about furloughing full-time, but.
Well, I just wanted to ask because that's a big, and a lot of people are using them in other places as synonymous. But I mean, if you are really talking about a furlough continuation of healthcare or of benefits, et cetera, you're going to minimize the impact you have on loss of people.
Right.
But if you don't do it now, we'll be doing it later. And it's not between like tonight, but somebody said earlier, we'd rather be doing this now than when we are trying to provide full service because we're back.
The other thing it's contingent on, I would think, would be how we reopen, if and when how we reopen. Right. So I don't know if there's a plan for that.
There's still a lot of uncertainty, and we're still waiting for some guidance from Ohio Library Council. I've been in communication with the County Health Commissioner, Tom Quaid, to just make sure that we're in compliance with all the things that we need to be in compliance with. But this is just the beginning. Everybody has a whole bunch of ideas. Some places out in the library world started doing curbside, and then they stopped because of safety concerns for staff. I don't know. I'm just telling you the things I'm reading. We still need to do a little bit more putting stuff together and a little bit more research on opening up.
I would agree with that. We need to be meeting and figuring this out.
Right.
But other libraries have not furloughed people yet? Is that
yes,
what I heard?
They have. Many libraries.
Yeah,
Some libraries. I don't know many, but.
Well, I mean, we're going to be viewed as remiss if we don't furlough some folks, I would think, before you go back to voters.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Larry?
I just think we're going to, I mean, if other are furloughing and cutting expenses, et cetera, if we don't, and then later we're trying to provide full services and we're saying, well, we need more money now, et cetera. There's could arguably have been remiss to not have done some of that. I mean,
Yep.
everybody in every walk of life is getting furloughed or reduction. And, you know, the other thing is just reducing the salaries, you know, just other things is keep everybody, maximize number of people on the payroll, but reduce the salaries by 20%. But don't reduce the hours, for example. That's something else that's out there. And a lot of people are viewing that very positive as opposed to the employees are viewing it as positive as opposed to just being told to go home.
I'm told that no CleveNet libraries of the 47 library systems, none have furloughed staff yet.
Many are meeting this week from the fiscal officers meeting.
Well, that's why I think, that's why I say, I think maybe a couple, you know, the 10 days is something that we can hold off. I don't think we need to do it today. I think we can wait for these other libraries to meet and get more information as far as, you know, what everybody's thinking and doing. And if the governor's going to come out with a little bit more on his plan, my feeling is May 1st, he is going to come out with a little bit more. And then we'll have a better guidance as far as where we're going.
Agreed.
He won't say anything about next school year yet, so I can't imagine he's going to do too much with the libraries.
So are you thinking that you would call a special meeting then? Is that what you're saying? You're saying May 1st.
I would think so. I think this is an important enough issue that we would have to call a special board meeting once you guys, you know, have more information that you can impart to us and that we can make an informed decision. It's hard to figure out, you know, it's hard to make a decision based on, well, we could do this, but we could do that, but we might do that, but maybe tomorrow. And I don't think that's a good way to make a decision.
So what do you see from us?
How much can we save?
Information.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What'd you say, Larry?
How much
do we
could
save?
we defer or save? I mean,
Or between what?
A furlough.
Well, I mean, if of anything that anyone's thrown, I mean, have we put any number out yet as far as anything we've talked about?
But in my report, I have a whole page of cost saving measures.
Yeah, just give them the bottom line.
Furloughing part-time employees for one pay period would save us $51,000.
Wow.
If you furlough all hourly employees for one pay period, it could save $85,000. We looked at cutting pay rates and salaries by 2% because that's what we did in 2009. That would save $78,000. But I don't know how when you came in, Larry, but the discussion was at least my discussion was it would be better to furlough employees now when they would receive all of their income back through unemployment than cut their pay, and they're not going to receive that back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll never make that up.
They'll never make it up.
And that's what happened in 2009. We didn't have a choice. That's what we had to do.
Right.
But you can never make that back up.
Yep.
I don't like that choice. That would be my last thought. That's just my opinion, but I've been there and I don't want to do it again.
Right.
Talk about big bucks, but that $600 is, it'll be interesting when people actually receive that.
It's supposed to start this week.
Yeah, let's see.
I'll go home and look at my bank account and see.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, people.
Could I ask the question again? Is there something the board would like to see from me that would help them make a decision?
I think you've given us all the numbers. You know, I think across the board, you've got the furlough idea. Always cost-cutting saving measures are always good. I saw, you know, like the guys could do the lawn, we get run of a lawn service. You know, stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of small, but it all adds up. And you've got numbers. So I don't think that's a problem. It's just you know, it would be cost-cutting measures. We've done that before. We can do it again. And then the furlough idea.
Okay.
So I would recommend, I don't know if I need to do this as a motion or anything, but I would recommend we do the cost saving measures that you talked about in the first part of what you said. That, you know, I don't know if you've probably already done the hiring freeze because we're not really hiring anybody because there's no work to do, but the hiring freeze, you know, no conferences, you know, we put the hold on the things we can put a hold on and, you know, save that money that we can now. And then I do like the idea, I think it was Kate said, you know, we wait till May 1st when the governor is going to come out with his next big thing. And then maybe that week we need to schedule another follow-up meeting. And that's when we decide, are we going furlough because it's going to be down for at least another month? So let's furlough people for a month. Or, I think we'll have a better idea May 1st what the heck is going on. That's
So what's that motion?
that's what I'm asking. Do you want that as a motion to institute the cost saving measures that are non-personnel related now that Lisa had in there?
The emotion.
Okay, so you
And then
want,
we'll follow up later with the rest of it.
I don't think it needs to be a motion.
well, see, and I personally would like to have a motion because then the board did, not me.
Yeah, that's fine. I totally get that, Lisa. So yeah, I'll make the motion that we institute the cost saving freezes that you've outlined.
Can I read them to you and you say if this is what you're thinking? The highway freeze, the travel, conferences, workshop and travel other than NEO. Education assistance, the tuition assistance, do you want to hold that?
Yep.
Okay. Furniture and equipment purchases, which would not include anything for the new buildings. I'm not
Right,
including.
because that's separate, right, yep.
Okay, and then the contingency and the fund transfers, we can look at that at the end of the year, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would hold off on those, yeah.
Okay, and is that it, or did you want to look at the materials budget also? I had reduced the materials budget by 5%, or do you want to wait on that?
I think we're effectively doing that because we're not buying anything. So I think we should wait on that as well.
Okay, so just the first 4 things, okay.
And the lawn maintenance to the facilities people.
Oh, you want to do the lawn, all of the lawn maintenance, because they're doing some.
As much as they can take on.
Okay.
Without, I think is a good idea. I mean, I'll leave that up. I would leave the specifics up to you guys.
Yes,
That's more of an operational thing,
Okay,
but yeah. And then the other 2 things you had on there, the suspending the merit payments and the suspending raises. We're not to the point yet where we're making that decision anyways. So I say we hold off till we get to that point later in the year, because things may not be as bad as we're fearing. We may be doing the Chicken Little, the sky is falling right now, and we get to the end of the year and we're like, okay, it wasn't that bad.
it was fine, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would defer that decision.
Okay,
Chris, you get
So
all
that is my long-winded motion.
I got it. I got Josh's motion and I think Lisa has it too. I just need a second.
Kate seconding.
Kate Patron is my second.
Roll call.
Are you ready? Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes. Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good discussion. All right, was that everything for you then, Lee? Everything? You're good?
I think so, unless anybody has questions about the employment changes, I didn't talk about those. I don't know if anybody had any questions.
It was pretty clear. You sent
Okay.
you sent the stuff that refers to it, so.
Yeah,
And if you have questions more about employment, you can always email her. She'll.
right,
answer
me
them.
or Chris Reed is all on top of it too, so either one of us, so. Okay.
that's good. Okay, great, thanks. Director's report.
Okay, so, trying to find my way back here.
I know, good luck.
Yeah, so, there's not too much to report other than, the public works construction projects being considered essential services means the building projects continue and we still have a regular weekly OAC meetings, and we had a change meeting, which is why the 2 change orders are in this packet and the other things that are in there. And anybody who wants to sit in on the OAC is welcome. We can send you the link so you can go through that interesting experience with all of us. I've driven by the Thompson site, but I haven't walked it since right before we shut everything down. And it's been even longer since I've seen Bainbridge. So I'm relying on Patrick Jolly and some other things. But otherwise, things are moving along well. Seeing if there's anything else in here. There's nothing else that I have to add except at the end when we go into the bits that we have to vote on, and I'll be able to explain that then.
If Patrick can send pictures or I can do the pictures, it doesn't really matter, but I would love for people to see Bainbridge because the roof decking's on. It's
Great.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You drive by it and you're like, you can see the building, you can get a feeling for it. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's
The
finally
front-
starting to look like a big
Yeah.
library.
It was just a bunch of
It's really
beams
cool.
before, but now you got the layout, the roof is on. It's really cool. So
Can you
if
send those
some-
pictures to the board, Patrick? I think he's here.
I can, yep, I can do that.
Okay,
Great.
thanks.
I'll just send the link to that folder. Ed,
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
Send the
Yep,
link.
okay.
There's tons of pictures. Yeah.
great.
Yep.
And if Ed, you would send me the OAC link,
Oh, yeah,
I would
absolutely.
like to be in on those, since, yeah, there's no other way to know.
Absolutely. We have them at 10 a.m. on Thursdays.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I'm not working then, so. Okey doke.
Any questions for me?
Mm,
You mentioned earlier that we did increase the ebook spending, that the online spending. How much did we increase that by? Do you know?
Marlene, you remember it's a small amount, just enough to boost maybe a couple few thousand, if I'm remembering correctly. We met actually right after the board meeting, if I'm not mistaken, or else the next day or the day before. All those days are blurring together, but we had a brief conversation about it, and we just boosted it for the month, or because at the time it was just I think it was March through, so we sort of, it was like the 13th, so we just
Okay.
got 6 weeks worth of doubling the amount, if I'm
Does
remembering.
Marlene have the actual amount? Because my understanding, mine is it's more than a few thousand.
Yeah, I have that on a spreadsheet, Marlene here. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So we had a light expenditure in February because of PLA. So right now we spend about $13,700 a month, and we've already met that for April, but we've only got a couple, half a month or so left. So I would say right now we're sitting at maybe 15,000 over the budget, and you figure it's 13,000 a month. So if that gives you an
Okay.
idea.
So
So
more than
it's not terribly over budget, but it is definitely over budget. And that's overdrive. But for Hoopla, we usually spend 7,700 a month. And we did increase that budget to 10,000 a month, but the patrons only used 8,700. So right now we're over about 1,700 for Hoopla.
That was the 3,000 that I was thinking
Okay.
in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And are we getting any complaints about not being able to get to stuff that people want? Are we getting any complaints from or happiness from patrons at all? We get any feedback either way?
I guess happiness, but they changed the website. Somebody complained to Marlene 2 days ago, I think, something about the website changing.
Yeah, well, as it turned out with that, there's a new mobile layout, and you have to hit 3 dots up in the upper right-hand corner to make an action, and that was frustrating to that patron. But we found out the patron figured it out Monday,
Okay.
even though Friday it was disconcerting, and then so other than that we haven't had any problems. As far as, do you mean as far as digital checkouts, Joshua? Or?
Yeah, just have we had anybody saying, God, I really want book X and I can't get to it? Have we had any of those complaints? Or we've had anybody saying, thank God you're here, you're keeping me sane? Just anything to hang our hats on.
We've had a lot of good feedback, actually. People have been saying they're really happy with the service, and we've probably got about 20% more checkouts. And so, and it's been an opportunity to introduce patrons to Hoopla. It's amazing how, I know this is funny, but there's patrons that don't know we have it. And so I've been reaching out, and they're like, oh, so, with everything, there's always a silver lining there.
Yep. Okay, thank you. That's all. I just wanted to ask about that. So thank you.
Patrick Colleton says he can compile some feedback from the public and share that with you guys as well, so you can see. Because we have had good. If you're paying attention on social media, you can see we've had some interesting things happening.
I know my book checkouts are great. I can be a satisfied customer.
Yeah.
I'm getting my book.
Well, the couple of friends I have that have been using the e-checkout stuff in the past, if anything, they've increased their checkouts by like 50%. But
Yeah.
admittedly, that's a very small.
Yeah.
It's not a good sample size. You know, 3
Yeah,
friends is
I'm
not
not
a
a
good
good
sample size. So
I'm not a good sample because I just, roll through the book. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not the average Joe, that's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Way a lot of books going through there. All right, super. Anything else for Ed?
Nope.
Okay, no. Assistant Director.
I included in my report a timeline for how things changed so quickly in March. And I did want to take a moment to talk about how much the public services managers and supervisors are really working behind the scenes, and to say thank you to them. They immediately started working on doing e-cards with the help of Marlene and Mike. And to date, to when I wrote this report, we'd helped over 400 people either reset their PINs or get e-cards. They immediately started thinking of ways to engage with the patrons with e-reference, the 100 book challenge, story times. They're meeting every week, and they're just doing a really good job, not just trying to engage with the community and the patrons, but keeping their staff informed and keeping everyone in the loop and making sure that everyone is being contacted as far as staff at least once a week. So I just wanted to say they are working quite a bit from home, attending meetings and trying to think up ways that we can switch to a new service model. And they've all done a really great job. Other than that, in my report, I can tell you that our electronic circulation increased 17.7% over March of 2019. We've helped a large number of patrons either get e-cards or reset their PINs. And staff have also been engaged by attending archived webinars or webinars through NEO, which we're gold members, so that doesn't cost us any extra. And when I wrote the report, we had over 35 staff participate in over 70 webinars. And I'm getting webinar requests every day, so I know that that has gone up significantly. That's all I have to add to my report.
Good, thanks. Anybody else with questions for Chris? Hard to see your faces in the room. Okay, human resources.
Hello, everyone. As in the in the board packet, we have the human resource actions that need approval. We had 2 resignations. However, those were prior to us even leaving on March 16th as our last day. I had those resignation letters prior to that date.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. I need a motion.
Motion to approve the employee human resources actions.
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman with the second?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Karen?
Yep.
Paul?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Anything else you got there besides
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes, actually, in the board packet also, there is information. It's a summary, amended plan document and summary of material modification for the flexible spending account, which is task. And so that needs to be approved and signed by, I believe, Lisa.
Is this something we have no choice about?
This is a benefit because of the different laws that have been put in place due to the COVID-19.
Right.
And the amended is allowing flexible spending to be over-the-counter drugs where they don't need a doctor's prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's making those things a little bit more available to them.
Emergency FMLA.
Okay.
There's no cost to the library. It's just expanding what they can use the money that they set aside for.
That was my question, I guess. I move that we accept this plan document amendment and summary of material application.
I'll second that.
Is that Josh?
That was
Yep.
Josh.
Okay.
Roll call when you're ready. Unless there's
Karen?
discussion. Anybody else? Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you very much. All right, so we're on to local managers report with Mike, who has been invaluable during this time, or we all wouldn't be online.
We're trying. It's
You're
a
doing
group
a great
effort.
job, Mike. I'm telling you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So really, other than what's in the report, I just want to say that GCPL staff have been so great during this time with being patient and flexible with all the sudden changes. I've worked with youth services staff and adult services staff to set up online story times, and we'll have hopefully book discussions, online book discussions coming soon. We also got a phone reference mailbox and email addresses set up so patrons can easily contact staff for assistance. And I also continue to work with Spectrum and Everstream to get the new internet connections for the current buildings and the new buildings set up by July 1st. So we've been busy.
Yes, you have.
Juggling all that with my new coworker, my toddler running around Ellie. So
I was thinking that look, lunch and munch or whatever that thing was called. I can't remember how Paul did it that one time for them. Could you set that up too, maybe?
Look, lunch, and listen.
Yeah, the one where they Geauga, I think it was at Geauga West, wasn't it?
Yes,
Where
it
they
look,
had
lunch, and listen. Yes.
and had a speaker. I don't see why you couldn't kind of do that. I don't know if that would work. Could you do
for
that
sure.
online? I mean, that
Adult
would be
Yeah,
services.
I don't know. I kind of like
Oh.
Karen's name better. Look, lunch and munch.
yeah, look, lunch and munch. That's me.
Adult
Okay, Mike?
services staff are reaching out to various presenters and working with Mike on that to see who is interested and available to do things remotely for us, especially the ones that we've already talked about booking.
Yeah.
So they're in the process of looking for that, and Look, Lunch, and Listen would be included in that.
Oh, good. But yeah, I was just thinking of more things that we could possibly do online just to keep people involved, keep our staff involved.
For
You
sure.
know, just if the more we're out there, the more we're in front of people, better we look.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's what I got.
Anything else, Mike?
Nope, that's all.
All right. Any questions for Mike? Nope. Okey-doke.
Thanks, Mike.
No problem. Thank you all.
Committee reports. Ad hoc facilities.
So the information has been sent to them, but we obviously haven't met. They specifically, these are I'm down at the change order, so I can't look at how it shows up, but we have the two change orders, change order 003
Right.
with the narrative for that, which is, whoops, I went too far. No, I went the right one. It's a $5,696, and it's all outlined in there what that is. And then the second change order is a refund, if I'm recalling correctly.
The 002?
GMP number 2002. Yeah, that's a deduct of $10,043. So I don't know whether you need to separate those or put them together, but because it's a change to the contract, they need to be voted on.
What do you want, Lisa, for your audit? Do you want them together? You want them?
I'd rather have them separately, please.
That'd be my thought too, because you got plus and negative. All right, so let's go with the first one. That's change order 003. Is that right?
Yep, and that's for GMP 1, which is the renovations.
Was that a motion by Paul?
Yes.
I need a second.
Raymond will second.
Any discussion on the change order? Okay, not, then a roll call.
Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, did you want
And then-
the credit?
GMP number 2, which is change order 2 for GMP number 2. And this is, credit from the electrical mechanical permitting fees and the below grade CMU and mechanical level, which is a $10,043 change order of a credit. Yep.
I move we accept that.
I think Paul did first.
Okay, so Paul was
And
the
you can be second.
Kate, the second, okay?
Yep. Any discussion on the credit? Roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, the gas line? Is
The
that what-
gas line. This has
Yeah.
been a long ordeal, and it is finally at the end. And in fact, Giselle keeps emailing me every day to find out. And I told her the board has to meet and we have to have this voted on. So when we first asked her how much this would be, and she did the survey, it was 23,000, and that was 2 years ago. And it was also going to a different part of the property. This is how it's changed, and they couldn't get multiple folks to place a bid to run the line. We only got one subcontractor that'll do the work. And so this is kind of what we have to eat.
Okay.
All right, so it'll be the 58,000 out of our pockets. Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah.
That is correct.
All right, I move that we approve the natural gas installation.
I'll second. That's Ray.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
If we must.
Jake,
And
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes, and I think if we must records as a yes.
I reported it as a yes.
It's-
We need gas.
Grumpy yes, but a yes.
Darn lawyers, I gotta have everything so specific.
Can I reassure everybody that this was budgeted? It's okay. It's a lot of money, but it is in the budget.
Oh, good.
Good.
We knew there was gonna be one all along. We just hoped for a better price.
Right.
Yes,
Didn't
correct.
happen.
It's not over budget, so.
No, it just didn't happen. That's all. We were hoping, but it didn't. So that's life. But we gotta have it. So that's just how it goes.
Correct.
All righty. What's next?
The last piece on here is this is the proposal from Collective Spaces for our shelving, and we wanted to get this placed so that they could begin the order however many weeks out, 10 weeks out or whatever it is. And this was gone through by the group. This was I won't sugarcoat it. This was a series of very painful meetings that took a long time, and we made it through. And this is where we are.
Did we not talk about taking the stuff from Newberry? and moving
Yes,
it? Does that include this?
that it at the time when we pulled the trigger on this, because this was before we got the letter from the commissioner saying no. And at this particular point in time, we still don't have any, we have an assumption that we will not be in that space anymore. But the folks, which I don't know, others can chime in because we debated this one to the nth degree. And the decision was for the expedition of getting this order placed and getting the materials ready for Thompson. The way to go was this, and we weren't going to save, but was it 10,000? Does anybody remember how much we were going to save if we used they were using the frames or something from Newberry? Was it
There was
10,000?
not a lot that we could use from Newberry in the Thompson space to make it cohesive. It couldn't all be used. So it would have been mismatched, and the savings was pretty minimal considering what we were doing. And with the timeline that we're working with and some of the concerns that our people have about getting things done in a timely manner in this new environment, we made the decision not to use the shelving from Newberry, but we are planning on using some of the shelving for back of the house places.
That's true.
At both locations, at both Thompson and Bainbridge. We will be reusing shelving in storage areas and workrooms.
And we would have had to pay to transfer the stuff as well. We would have had to pay a crew to go disassemble and then send everything there. So in the end, again, that was possibly almost as painful as the rest of it. The debate of that, we came to, because to me, and I say this is my editorial on this, in all the years that I've worked, which is 28 years now, 29, whatever it is, I see this shelving everywhere. It doesn't go bad. People buy it. It sits there. It sits in a place forever, and then it eventually gets recycled. And it doesn't go bad unless it gets rusty. And that happens usually after the 30 to 50 year mark. I don't know, Larry, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
No, Larry Corbis.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. I keep seeing some of that shelving from 40 years ago. They're still in use in different places. But I agree that the amount of work it would have taken to adapt that shelving wouldn't have been worthwhile.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a thought that we had way back when, and
It
nobody.
seemed great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like a good idea at the time, but yeah, if it's not worth it, it's not worth it, and
Yeah.
don't waste my time. Got it. Thanks, Larry.
All right, then I will make a motion to approve the expenditure for the shelving at Thompson.
Was that you, Paul?
I second it.
Okay. Paul's the second?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion? And a roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Okay.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, we're up to unfinished business.
Don't have any that is other than the fact that we did get the letter from the commissioner saying that they are not interested in Newberry. So we're just going to have to keep riding out that uncertainty with the assumption that come June 1st, we are no longer in that space. But we'll keep digging into it, and hopefully, I know that the Newberry folks and the West Geauga School folks are having conversations and they're having meetings. They published it in the paper, but I'm not sure what has been resolved or where things are going.
Well, we have, did they tell us that they'd cut the services? We talked about that. Will they cut the services June 1st? Do we know?
We don't know, and we also don't know if they'll sell the property, if they'll keep it. I know, and we won't know until we get closer to June. So we should prepare for the worst, is what I'm guessing.
Okay, I was gonna say otherwise squatters' rights, so we just stay there till they.
Yes.
Whatever. If we still got lights, I wouldn't rush to go out the door when they tell you eviction. Whatever. Okay, new business.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Hey, just could I ask, maybe I missed it, I'm sorry, but what's the status of the water situation in Cambridge? You refer to it as a ponding situation?
Oh, with the county, the Soil and Water Conservation District. Or do you mean the pond?
You referred to it as a ponding last time, but retention pond or detention pond and whatever.
So there's multiple issues going on at Bainbridge, but specifically the part about the pond, that is now in the hands of the engineers for the architects. That is, was it Hess? Hess Engineering is reviewing, and they're going to give us a proposal. That was approved the last time, and it's in their hands, and we didn't hear anything about it Thursday. That's what I'll say, other than they're working on it.
Okay.
That's not holding anything up, though?
No, it doesn't seem to be.
Not yet.
No.
Other than the Chagrin Valley Herb Society has been communicating with me concerns about, but I said to him, it's out of my hands now, and it's in the hands of the engineers and the architects. And then when they get a proposal, they'll bring it back to the full ad hoc facilities and the architect OAC. And again, if anyone wants to sit in on that meeting when we have the conversation, you are more than welcome. We'll send you the link.
Yes, I would like to. I would like to be participating in those meetings, yes.
I
Send me
would
what-
I would like to also, Ed.
I will send the
Larry.
invite to the full board and you are welcome.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, is that board development we did? I can't remember where we are.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was for,
foundation, and then foundation. Anything? I know.
do you have anything to share, Becky?
Well, I do. I am glad to report that we got our annual fundraiser in within a week of us closing. So we're all very grateful about eking the mini golf fundraiser in. And we ended up grossing about $13,300, and it fell short of our $15,000 goal. But it's a little bit of growth over last year. And like I said, we are all just very grateful we got it in because it's better than zero. And as far as the future is concerned, we're reaching out to our friends groups now because the way that book sales are going to be handled are a little bit unknown. And virtually all of our major branches have had to cancel their book sales, at least one of their book sales so far this year. So I've kind of got my eye on what's going on nationwide with friends and foundations and seeing how, if there's some alternatives to book sales or some way that we can creatively try to do some more fundraising so this year doesn't look as meek as it does right now. So we'll be working with our friends groups and really try to see what the future of fundraising for the library is going to look like. As far as the Ohio Governor's Imagination Library, we hit 800 kids today. So this project has been really embraced by our Geauga families. I think they're looking at it as a positive resource, something to do with the kids at home to get the books delivered to their door. And believe it or not, the governor's office has been found time to reach out to some of the county affiliates to see how they can help with funding. Right now, they're revising the website to make sure that if anybody wants to make a donation online, it can be designated county by county so we can get some local donations. And other than that, the foundation is really kind of in a watch and wait type of pattern like everybody else. And we're just going to see what the library needs from us and how the rest of our year is going to look like.
You were going to, Larry, you were going to talk to our Rotary group. I think it was about the one book. Is that something that's being done? Is that still continuing online or?
Well, what I've been talking, Larry was talking about a project we were doing with West Geauga and Newberry schools. They were going to do a one book, one school book to try to open the discussion about welcomeness and friendship with territory transfer and also the grade leveling that's been going on at West Geauga. All the K-5 kids were going to read the same book. And since there's no school, there's really no way to distribute those books before the end of the school year, but they wanted to do something because it's also part of their anti-bullying campaign that they're doing with the Anti-Defamation League. So they're going to have the ELA teachers reading it online on video, and then hopefully coordinating some online activities with the kids. And the ELA teachers are actually working it into their curriculum, so it's not like one extra thing that you have to do on top of homeschooling. So they're totally revising the project, and it looks like we're not going to need those hard copies. So I'm sure we're probably not going to need the funding unless they decide they want it in the fall. So
okay. Well, I just wondered, and plus we are doing Rotary our weekly meetings on Zoom. So if you still wanted to talk to them, our group sometime, you can.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think we had it scheduled toward the end of May, but I was still going to talk. If you think it's good, it's a good time to ask for something for the Dolly Parton, the Ohio Imagination Library. That was one of the major things we were going to present to the group.
Right. Okay.
Do you want me to keep that date on the calendar too?
Yeah.
Whatever date you gave me.
Yeah. Well,
what is today?
I can check. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know what's on our calendar. So yeah, I'll check and I'll send you an email or something.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
Right. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thanks. All right. Way to go, gang. 5:09. What else we got, Ed? That's it? That's all I got?
It looks like it. We would normally have something at the end that said comments from the public, but
anyone?
I don't see it.
You are the public, besides being here for the meeting. Anybody got anything else?
No.
No. Then I need a motion to adjourn.
Paul Newman moves to adjourn.
Is that Paul?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, doke. Thanks. Good meeting, guys.
Yes, we made it through.
We
Yeah.
did. Excellent. All due to Mike Pope, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
thanks,
Yes.
Mike.
Yep.
You
Yeah, Mike,
deserve
it was
a good
great
pat on the
effort.
back.
Yeah,
Thank you all for your patience with this.
As my kid keeps saying, a virtual high five.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent.
Everybody stay safe.
All right. Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
Amen.
you too, guys. Everybody
All
stay
right.
healthy.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.